Many years back, when I was still a teenager, I walked into this restaurant and ordered for a cup of tea. When tea was served, it was the first time in my life to see a sugar sachet. Instead of tearing the top and pouring the sugar into my cup of tea, I dipped the entire sachet into the cup of tea. I stirred and stirred and stirred, but expectedly, the tea could not taste. So I added another sugar sachet. And even after adding the second one, the tea could not taste. I knew I was innocent. The problem was not me. I just put sugar into my cup of tea, but the tea would not taste. I had to blame someone. It was either the waiter, or the milk, or the water, or the sugar had expired, but it had to be something else, but not me. In this day and age, we have thousands and thousands of businesses in this country, startups, SMEs, large corporates. And even though these businesses appear to have everything in place, they have the proper leadership, they probably have the right human capital, they are probably leveraging on technology, they are probably having the right customer base, somehow for a reason or the other, they seem not to fix the perfect cup of tea. Their tea is tasteless. For the last 10 years, as a statistician, as a market researcher, and a business excellence consultant, I have been working with these organizations, helping them make the perfect cup of tea. My name is Samuel Gesharu, and I welcome you to this show where we shall be making the perfect cup of tea in business language. You're welcome. Charles quit employment about 3 years ago. He was working in a plant in industrial area. Then 2 years ago, he set up a posho mill somewhere in the outskirts of Nairobi. The posho mill initially was doing well, but then things started to turn for the worst. At some point, he was just breaking even. Then last year, he started making losses. And at this point, he's at a crossroads. He's not sure whether to continue with the posho mill or close it down. So one of the things he mentioned as a challenge is competition. Today, we are going to look at this problem in depth. Charles, jambo.
Yes, jambo sana.
I got your submission and I had a few questions, a few follow-up questions. Do you have about 5 minutes or so? Now, it's always important to seek a meeting with a client after you receive the brief. Why? Remember, this client owns the business and not you as a consultant. So when the client is telling you he has a problem with his business and he owns it, how much more time should you spend as a consultant understanding his business to a point of offering a solution? In your submission, you talked of a competitor who came into the neighborhood and disrupted your way of doing things. When exactly did he open his doors for business? Let's talk about your revenues. At what point did you notice that your numbers were really going down? When did they take a nosedive? Which month? Okay. Something else I noted in your submission, you are 100% convinced that your revenue has been affected by the competitor. Why are you 100% sure and so convinced that all this has been caused by competition? Yeah.
People talk places relatively small, so kuna watu wametumia mambo ya competition wanarudi kuniambia like ABCD, they give me feedback about it.
All right, let's talk about your loyal base. Those customers who will always come to you, come rain, come sunshine. How big is this segment? If you can give me an estimator, a percentage.
Wale najua lazima watarudi, they are at least around 10-15%.
Oh, 10%? 10% is not a small percentage for loyal customers.
But kuna wale wenye hawarudi mara mingi.
Loyal customers who are not frequent, I'm a bit confused right now, and I had to seek more clarification on this. Okay. After how long do these customers come back?
These are people who at least every month I will see them, but wananunua kilo moja, mbili, tatu, but every month I see one or two. I see them coming back.
The reason why I asked this question is to establish if indeed these customers are really loyal. If they are buying 1 to 2 kilograms in a month and they come once a month, and looking at that particular socioeconomic class, they consume much more than 1 to 2 kilograms in a month. So what it implies is these customers must be getting their flour from somewhere else, either the competitor or elsewhere. And it's something that we are going to look into and see how we can reverse that trend.
They normally tell me that my product is better. One reason mbona walikuja wakaenda is because your price, my price iko slightly higher, but shida, my price I cannot review at this moment.
It emerges that Charles has a loan and it takes up over half of his monthly revenue. And apparently for the last 3 months, he's been struggling to pay up and the bank is on his neck. All right, Charles, thank you so much for your time and your feedback.
Thank you.
I think you've answered my questions, and should I have any other follow-up question, I'll surely get back to you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Okay.
So to help me put together recommendations for Charles, I contacted one of my associates and a good friend of mine, Opati, and he had some valuable feedback for Charles. Sound check. Opati, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good to see you. You're well?
Yeah, I'm well.
How does it
We
feel
are
working
good.
from home?
I think for me, what I've actually done is I gave my staff an off, fully paid off, and then I work in the salon. So I'm the one who is actually keeping the company going.
Okay.
So even as we speak, I'm in the office.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Now, thank you for taking this short assignment on a very short notice. Straight to Charles and his problems. What's your take on the Charles' current situation?
From a business point of view, Charles is facing two critical issues.
Yeah.
One, we have the cash flow issue, and then also his business survival.
Yeah.
On the cash flow issue, what I would advise Charles is one, to look for ways of renegotiating with the person who gave them that facility, so that instead of paying 50% of his income to repaying loan, maybe he can pay 25% to ensure that his business continues. The second aspect is the competition. The competition that has been illustrated by a new competitor coming at that place. What Charles needs to do first is he should look to discover what is the business doing that is not doing. And then the other thing that Charles needs to look at is he needs to create a blue ocean aspect of the business for his business. This means Charles should look at what other incidental businesses that he can add to his business, because you see, he's a posho mill. He's actually is a posho mill, and basically what he's doing is providing flour. Let's say he's providing flour for the people there. But there are other incidental businesses that he can do, like he can decide to sell some of the products. Like let's say we have maize, because I see what many people are doing to survive currently. You ensure that you have your main business, and then you have other incidental business that can support your main business.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So he needs to diversify and renegotiate his credit facility. In your opinion,
Yes.
how long would it take for him to get back to profitability, assuming he implements your recommendations immediately? And I know we are limited in information, but how long would we expect him to at least break even?
Because one of the things that I'm looking at, if he renegotiate his loan facility,
Yeah.
it means that he'll have an additional 25% of that income. If you are saying, for example, he was making 20,000 a month,
Yeah.
and he was 10,000, he was using 10,000 to repay the loan, then
Yeah.
he'll have an extra 5,000 that he can play around with. And then you are saying if you take that 5,000 and buys other products, let's say in a year, but generally for a business, normally it takes a year to 3 years to get in profitability. But the thing that he needs to tackle with is cash flow, because cash flow kills businesses faster than profitability.
Uh-huh. All right. Thank you very much, Opati, for your contribution. We really appreciate. Now, at the very beginning, it is important that you roll out your vision and your mission. There's a big misconception out here that whenever you talk of vision, mission, strategic plan, that only applies to the big corporates that have to take a 1 week off and go to a retreat center somewhere in Mombasa or Naivasha in a hotel and discuss the strategy and probably onboard a consultant and spend days and days and days developing the strategic plan. However, no matter the size of the business, a strategic plan, the vision and the mission is very necessary. It doesn't need to take you a whole month to do so. You just need to sit down, simply put your thoughts together. What is your plan for that business? What's your end game? Where do you want to be tomorrow? Where did you see yourself 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? We need to find a way of documenting that journey. You need to know how far you are in the journey and what progress you're making. Something else that I noticed you've not been doing quite properly, and it's something we may need to improve on, is the aspect of documentation. If someone would want to come and invest in your business, let's say someone wants to come and partner with you, what would give him the confidence that your business is in the right direction? They would need to know how your business has been performing. A serious investor will not rely on today's performance. They want to know where you came from, how you've been going, how you've been growing, your challenges. So I think it's something we are willing to help you document so that you can prepare yourself for the next level. Now, to my second point, initially you did tell us you have about 10% of customers whom you qualify as loyal. But I would like to unpack that 10% and submit to you that there are actually two segments within what you qualify at 10%. The customer pyramid shows how customers progress in any product or service out here. At the very first level, we have the aspect of awareness. The customer needs to know that your product exists. And that's the point where organizations will use all manner of marketing tools, either social media, mainstream media, print media, TV. Then once people are aware of your product, the next level, and it takes the shape of a pyramid, is trial. Of course, it narrows down because not everyone knows your product, gets to purchase it. But it's your objective as any organization to ensure that that conversion is at the highest. So there are those who will try your product. Now, this segment is very important, people who are trying your product. And it seems Charles has a good number of people who have tried his product. But then when competition came, these people left him for competition. So at the point of retaining them, which is the next level, retaining the customers, he seems to have lost quite a big segment. And this is something we want to look into and see how we can advise him on how to retain them. Well, all is not lost because it seems at the very apex where we have the loyal customers, he still has a number right there. And we want to concretize that number and increase this number as we go by. There's a difference between customer retention and customer detention with a D. Why am I calling them detained customers? It seems they have a point of preference. But when there's an inconvenience, that's when they come to you. Now, depending on how you look at it, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's a good thing in the sense that they have not disapproved of your product. They are consuming it. That means you just need to spend much less effort winning them over to to become loyal customers. And we're going to be discussing some of the things that you need to do to cross them over to become loyal customers. For the loyal customers, it is good you retain them. Some of the things you need to do is probably consider having their phone numbers. And it's important, even as you get their phone numbers, inform them that you're getting these phone numbers so that you will be sending promotions, discounts, communication on promotions and discounts. They are likely to share with you their number. And especially if they're loyal customers, that means there is an aspect of trust. Then start sending messages. It could be weekly. I believe we're not talking about a big count here, so it's just a handful of messages. You can communicate offers, 10% discounts, 5% discounts. And like you've hypothesized that most of them went to competition because of pricing, it seems that the segment you're dealing with here is quite price sensitive. So we'll want to look at how you can incentivize by dropping your price periodically just to see how you can retain this loyal base. Now, the third point, we needed to try and estimate your actual market size. This is something that is very important, and most organizations, large, even small companies, they love to know their market share so that they can know how much of the market they are servicing, and it helps even in future planning because a business is able to know how much effort should it put in place to take a particular trajectory. And we did that using an approach, a research approach we call spatial analysis.
With the help of Google Maps, using Charles Pushel Mill location as the center, we mapped out 3 circles of different diameters, segmenting the geographical market into 3 segments. The innermost circle that has a diameter of 500 meters cuts out the region that has the easy-to-reach customers. The cost and effort of acquiring customers increase as we increase the circle diameter. For this exercise, we focused on the inner circle of 500 meters diameter. Here, we estimated the population of this region, and this is how we did it. The radius has approximately 220 households. With the help of Google Maps and a field assistant who was on the ground, we were able to map out these residential houses. 2 property management agencies operating within the area informed us that the average house occupancy rate is at 90%. Data from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics indicates that this sub-county has a household average of 2.8 members. This is according to year 2019 census. With these parameters, we ended up with an estimated population of 2,970 residents. This includes children residing in the innermost circle. Based on our calculations, this population consumes an estimated 11,880 kilograms of wheat flour per month. Now back to Charles. He sells between 800 and 1,100 kilograms per month, which translates to approximately 10% of the current demand of people living within the inner circle. It could be rightfully argued that the demand that totals to 11,880 includes those who buy branded maize flour. However, depending on his long-term strategy, nothing stops Charles from packaging and branding his flour so as to penetrate this market consuming branded maize flour. Now, looking at the opportunity of growth, which is approximately 60 to 90%, should Charles focus on competition or the untapped market? Your guess is as good as mine.
Great. Probably at this point you're wondering, where do you get the money to implement all these recommendations? When we talk of discounts and offers, of course, it requires you to inject some money. Now, we are going to get this money from the bank. The same bank that extended our facility to you is the same bank that is going to give us the money. How are you going to do that? And this is part of recommendation that came through one of my associates. We are going to work closely with you, put together a nice proposal, share it with the bank, propose how we are going to help you get back to profitability. Of course, it's going to take time. And based on that proposal, we are going to request the bank to allow you to make partial payments for up to 3 months. Okay? The minute you show the bank that you've engaged a consultant and the proposal looks something that is feasible, I'm very confident that they are going to consider that.